you should definitely write a book
I'd
about,
love to.
you know, the the ups and downs and the way to consistently have a business running in its full.
I think Dubai is a bit different now, but back then they give you everything. So my house was free, my car was free, my phone, my laptop, all my expenses, and my salary, and the salary is tax free. So you think it's just so easy. You don't have to worry about anything. All of that carpeting's covered in plastic because you don't want it to get dirty when they're doing the setup. And very often they'll be building plastic structures or wooden structures covered in plastic for branding and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
What's the point of hiring intelligent people and telling them what to do? So at Apple, we hire intelligent people and have them tell us what to do because that's what we've hired them for.
Wow.
And that's why you have to hire good people. You know, I generally get a good feeling for somebody, you know, very quickly. You meet someone, you know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you get a feel for someone, whether you can trust them or not, and whether they're going to do a good job. You don't always get it right, and sometimes you have to make some corrections.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm super excited to have a very special guest with me today. And we have Joe, who is the creator for Avenue2 event, and before he was in the London's oil and gas sector. And there's an enticing journey to it, and him being a globetrotter traveling all across the globe. So, hi, Joe. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well, I am just fascinated by your journey because I love it that you're in Dubai and we would like you here for as long. But how did your journey begin?
So I started work after university in London, and yeah, it was in the oil and gas sector. It wasn't something I'd planned at all. So I finished university and I started looking for jobs, and I actually thought maybe I'd end up in IT or something. But the recruiter I was dealing with, she recommended this company. It didn't sound like my cup of tea, but I thought, okay, I'll go for the interview. Then I got to the office, amazing office, really friendly people. And, you know, I was going in at a very junior role, but they said, okay, when you start, you're going to have to go and visit all the different factories around the world and the production sites. And you're going to have to go to America. You're going to have to go to Thailand. You're going to have to go to, you know, all over the world.
I love that job.
And I thought, okay, yeah, I'm in. Whatever the job is, I'm in. And yeah, so I started there. I did about 18 months in London. And then it was on my second trip, I think, to Dubai. The team over here said, hey, want to transfer? Sure. Slightly uncomfortable conversation with my boss in London, but you know, he was happy for me to develop and grow. And yeah, so I moved over here around 2007.
And I think this line of work is so amazing because Dubai is a place to orchestrate events. And how is it that you are unique? How does Avenue2 event? I love the name for the first thing. How did you come up with the name?
So Avenue2, the idea behind it was I wanted something that was representative of what we do. So the first two letters in the name are AV. So that's audio visual. So, you know, whatever events you do in Dubai, you're going to have lights and sounds. And so, you know, that's that element. The second part is it also spells out a venue. So, you know, your venue choice for whatever event you do is crucial, right? The venue is everything for your event.
Absolutely.
And lastly, Avenue2 is the second path, right? The option that you might not have considered yet. So maybe you always go with company A, maybe you consider company B. We're a smaller company, we're more boutique, can offer a more personalized service. So it's that second option that you may not have considered, but probably is the right choice for you. So that's where the name.
Amazing. So can you tell me, like, how long have you been in Dubai and what made you come into this field? What was the determining factor?
So I was very much on the corporate oil and gas ladder. I came to Dubai in 2007 as a marketing executive. I very quickly got promoted to regional sales manager, and then I switched companies to a competitor company, became global marketing director for them. So that was my path. I was 100% on the corporate ladder. I thought maybe one day I'll be the CEO of this company. But then 2015, the oil price crashed. It went below $50 a barrel. Now, normally when the oil price crashes, it's people who work in aftermarket that stick around. The people who are selling new equipment, the people who are, because customers, they can't afford to buy new equipment when the oil price is so low. So I thought, I'm an aftermarket, I'll be fine. But I think as a Western expat out here, there's a perception, you have a high salary, it's expensive to keep you here, and you're seen as a luxury. So I was made redundant in 2015. So that was a bit of a shock. So I went home, sort of thought about things, slept on it. But when I woke up the next morning, I thought, right, no, I'm not going to be in a position where other people are determining my fate anymore. I'm going to start my own company and do my own thing. So that was the start of that entrepreneurial path. I've had a few ventures over the years. I started a PR company here in Dubai at that time because my partner at the time was in PR, and I saw an opportunity there to do something a bit unique. I then opened a consultancy in London, which was performing very well, but then COVID hit. That caused some problems. Right. COVID was terrible for everyone. And then I came back to Dubai. So some friends of mine, they have an act called Mind to Mind, very successful magic
Absolutely,
and mentalism.
I love
act.
them. Yes.
So they've been performing in Dubai for a long time, and I've been friends with James, probably since 2010. And I said I was coming back to Dubai, and he said, "Oh, look, do you fancy managing us?" Sure. Okay. So it was, again, not something I'd considered, but when an opportunity presents itself, you say, "Okay, let's give it a go." So that's how I got into the whole event space, and then I just found I have an affinity for this.
Of course.
This world,
I think that this is so amazing, and you would be the perfect person ask that. How fun and how much more empowering is the journey of entrepreneurship compared to working for a corporate world?
Well, honestly it's terrifying, because in the corporate world you're completely safe, right? You're getting a salary every month, and back when I was in the corporate world, I think Dubai is a bit different now, but back then they give you everything. So my house was free, my car was free, my phone, my laptop, all my expenses, and my salary, and the salary is tax-free. So you think it's just so easy. You don't have to worry about anything. Obviously, when you're responsible for your own fate, responsible for making your own money every month, no idea. Absolutely no idea what can happen. But then, so in one way it's terrifying, but then you get this feeling of responsibility that's actually really empowering. And you think, yeah, it's a good feeling. Yes, it's terrifying, but it gives you that strength to build your own destiny.
I know it gives a lot of leadership skills in a way. Also, I'm really pleased that you're vulnerable about sharing that it can get frightening because it's an unknown destination. You don't know how the market is going to change, but do you think you're getting more and more comfortable with time? You're enjoying this more?
I think I've probably found something that I can actually be passionate about. So PR wasn't really my background, so having the company here, I was more interested in the business side. I didn't get involved in the actual PR side that much. And the consultancy in London was okay, but I wasn't really that passionate about the clients or the products.
Right.
It was, I could provide a good service and the client was happy, and that made me feel good, but I couldn't get excited about it. It just wasn't that exciting.
Yeah.
Whereas events, and you see, because it's so tangible. If you put an event on for someone, or you provide someone an artist for an event, you see how happy they are, and you just get that immediate feedback that you've done a good job. It makes you feel good, and it's exciting.
I love what you said. It's tangible, and you have so much power in the whole show because you can you're delivering their dreams in a way, whatever they're contemplating, and then you're translating it into a tangible reality.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's look at a wedding, for example. If you're planning a wedding for someone, you're responsible for delivering their vision, their dream. If you screw up, then they will remember that day for the rest of their lives as the worst day of their life, and they will hate you forever, right? But if you get it just right, and the bride and groom have the best day of their lives, they will, again, remember that forever. Their family will remember it, and it will just be such a positive memory, and you got to be part of that. So again, it's scary because you have all that responsibility, and the consequences of screwing up are huge.
I wouldn't like to see it that way, otherwise I wouldn't be able to wake up the next day. But
if you get it right, it's
it's
such a good feeling.
Amazing, and you are making memories for them, and also, can you tell me about the for many of them who would like and who are thinking of starting out a business, how are the dynamics of UAE, and how do you prefer it, because you have been and traveled and lived in so many other countries?
Well, so we were talking just before we started recording. Dubai is one of those places people never intend to stay very long. Most people have an idea, I'll be here 1 year, 2 years, maybe 5 years, and then they plan to move on. And I was the same. So I first moved here 2007. 2012, I moved to Singapore, which was always my plan. But then something happens here, somebody calls you up and you get drawn back.
Right.
So I left once and then I moved to London. The second time I left, I got drawn back. There's something about, I think Dubai is geared up for entrepreneurship. I think it's almost like the Old West, you know, the whole dream, the American dream.
Yes.
You know, work hard and you can build yourself a life and you can create something for yourself. I think Dubai is the new version of that. You can make anything happen here.
I love how you said it, and I resonate with this as well, because it's growing, and there are a lot of, so coming to your events company, Avenue2 Events, how are you different? How are you unique? And
well, it's a very competitive space. There are a lot of companies here. There are also a lot of very big companies that have been here for a long time and they have a lot of resources. So you're going up against these big players, and that can be tough. So you have to deliver, you have to go over and above. You have to offer a service that's more personal, that's more considerate, and you have to have a closer relationship with the client, because that's what they're getting from you that they can't get from an enormous global
Yes.
audiovisual company. And it's about going the extra. So just giving them that little bit extra that maybe they weren't expecting, they didn't even ask for it, but you just do the little thing here, a little thing there, just to make that experience that much more memorable, and then word will spread.
and that's all the importance that it makes, that uniqueness.
Yeah, and it's only 5-10% extra, but that's the thing they remember. Oh,
Yes. And also with so many influencers and, the people from the social media, and they are always looking for something unique, and bringing that different vibe. And I think that you are here. So you cater to different categories, because they're different events. They're corporate events, they're international events, people. So what is your main, or is it like a holistic provision of services?
so again, you've got to be careful not to try and be everything to everyone, because then you have no niche, you have no unique quality. So we very much focus on the luxury space, and there's probably two sides to it. So there's the luxury side, and again, that can include personal events like weddings, and then there's the corporate side. But the corporates that we work with are banks, big consultancy firms, law firms, that kind of thing. So we're at that kind of level where it's very professional, but also they want something a bit different, a bit unique, a bit fun, but maintaining that kind of corporate
Right.
look.
Yeah. So it's an exclusive category. It's like catering to a certain niche, and that have specific requirements, and right. And then do you provide them with your choice of venue? Because like venue, I think the location is the most important thing.
It's huge.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we only work with the best venues. There are certain places we would just never recommend, and we wouldn't really want to work in general. I have some very good relationships with some of the high-end hotels around the region, Jumeirah Properties, and I know the staff there. I know what they can deliver. So Jumeirah Beach Hotel, for instance, we work there a lot, and I know the whole team. And you can guarantee that whatever event you do there, they'll be very well looked after.
Right.
And there's going to be no problems on the day. Everything's smooth. So I think that's the key. Yeah. We have at the moment probably 10 or 20 venues that we're very familiar with, that we're comfortable with. They would be the ones we recommend. Obviously, the client has their choice at the end of the day.
Yes.
But we'll always try and push them to the venues that we trust them.
Right. And I can see how, I can see your position, because now, like you said, it's a competitive thing. But how you have made it different is completely targeting a unique frame of people, customer services. And is there any enticing event that you conducted, comes to your mind, that you want to share with the listeners, that you thought was something really nice?
Yeah, so we did an event recently. Again, it was at Jumeirah Beach Hotel in the garden there.
I love that location.
So good.
Oh, it's like on the beach and
Yeah, so they have Nuska restaurant, and then next to that is what they call Nuska Gardens. So it's just a green space right on the beach, and you have the Burj Al Arab as a backdrop.
beautiful.
Put a screen up at the back, but again, we tried to keep it minimal because you've got the Marsa Al Arab Hotel on your right if you're looking at the screen, and you've got the Burj Al Arab on your left. So the backdrop is amazing. Behind you is Jumeirah Beach Hotel. So we try and keep the dressing, the stage, everything minimalist.
Because you have so
'Cause,
much
yeah,
for beauty.
everything around you. You know, we light up the trees, and you know, we put the company color and the brand color on the trees so that you get this feel. It feels like their company, feels personal to them, but for the guests, it's the backdrop, it's the scenery. That's what.
I think I would love. I actually go there a lot, and I just absolutely love that place because it's just endless view of nature, and you know, being in Dubai, you want to be close to nature more.
Yeah.
You know, because it's kind of artificial, and you want to have the natural vibe. That's a fantastic. And
So actually, just on the nature thing, they had an event a few weeks ago where I don't know if you know it, Burj Al Arab. They have an aquarium where they look after turtles. So they take small turtles and they sort of nurture them and get them up to the size that they can be released. And then every few months they have a big ceremony on the beach and they release the turtles into the sea and they go off. And we went to that actually with James and Marina from Mind to Mind the other day. They put the first one in the sea.
Oh.
It was wonderful. Yeah, really good experience.
that is something so outstanding that they're doing. You know, do you want to also share something about how UAE is focusing so much on sustainability?
Yes.
yes.
So this is something I'm quite passionate about. So one of the first events I did in Dubai, so I wasn't running the event, I was just providing, working with James and Marina. It was a big summit, huge ball.
So, Joe, can you tell us about the sustainability aspect? Because, you know, how in the UAE everyone's focusing a lot on this, and how are you incorporating it in your...
Yeah, so this was, well, it's something I'm quite passionate about, and it was something I noticed when I first got involved in events in the last couple of years. The amount of waste is phenomenal. You know, you have, let's say you hire a ballroom for your event, and you have a company come in, they will put event carpeting down. It's usually single-use carpeting. All of that carpeting is covered in plastic because you don't want it to get dirty when they're doing the setup. And very often they'll be building plastic structures or wooden structures covered in plastic for branding and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
Not only that, but you've got to bring in the screen, the lights, the sound. So trucks coming in, many, many, many trucks with dozens of laborers coming in. And then maybe the event lasts half a day, 1 day maximum, and then it all gets taken down. The carpet goes in the skip, the wooden structures, the branding, everything you built generally gets smashed, put in a skip. And
Oh my God, yes.
It's so wasteful. So that was the first thing that I thought about the industry that needs to change. And so that's one of the things that Avenue2 is passionate about and trying to fix.
Absolutely, and they're so costly. Making all those pop-ups for the stage, and because they're unique too, and also the plastic and everything, yes.
Terrible. So one of the things we've started to do is partner with venues to offer turnkey solutions. So again, we have this through, I work with another company called H2 Productions, and we have put in a complete setup in the auditorium in Jumeirah Beach Hotel. So we've got LED screen, side screens, there's even a front screen at the front of the stage for branding, all the lighting, all the sound desk, everything is already in. It's ready to go, and the microphones, it's all there. So you can come in as a client, hire that venue, and you don't need to think about it. It's ready to go. And we're doing that now with other hotels, properties, ballrooms, and event spaces around Dubai, where we're installing everything. So it doesn't cover every single thing the client would need, but let's say it's 90% of the way there. So if you need to add something, it's very small. And simple things like podiums. You want a podium on the stage, very often they'll either build one themselves and have it branded, or you have a standard one, but you've still got to print plastic and stick it on.
Yes.
We use LED panels, so the whole thing is covered in LED panels. It can be black, it can be white, whatever color you want. You can put branding on it, you can have animated logos on it, and it's completely controllable remote. And you can change your mind on the day and say, I don't like this logo, I want to change it. You can do it in 10 seconds.
Oh, fantastic.
But then there's no more printing, there's no more waste. So it's everything we can do to try and reduce the waste and make the client's life as easy as possible. Because the other thing is, if you're putting on an event, you don't really want to think about, okay, well, I've got to bring this truck in and we've got to set this up at midnight because the event starts tomorrow morning and people have to stay up all night. If everything's already in and ready to go, it's a turnkey solution. It just makes everyone's life so much easier. Plus, it reduces costs for them enormously.
Amazing. I mean, just listening to all of this is profound, because so many of the companies are still doing it in the old ways, and nothing's being done about it. And
There does seem to be a standard in Dubai of how events are done. And I think honestly, I just think it's wrong. So you need a crew, a reasonable number of people to set up. You're going to put a new screen in and you're going to build a stage and put the lighting in. It takes time. But on the day, really, you need 1 or 2 people. Everything should be pre-programmed. Everything should be ready. You should be able to run it from a single laptop.
yes,
But you see these events and they have a huge structure at the back, maybe 10, 20 people. I never understand what they do.
an entire crew of
Huge crew, and I don't know what most of them do, and it gets very confusing. Everyone's on comms, everyone's talking over other people. You can't communicate clearly, and it would be so much simpler if you just had everything on a laptop and
Yes.
1 or 2 people controlling it.
I absolutely love what you said, because you know what? People also have this sense of privacy that they want to keep an exclusiveness to the event, and then just seeing so many creates a kind of it's not very comfortable.
Yeah,
Yes.
to me it just seems unnecessary. I think the events companies do it to make it look like they're giving value for money.
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
look, we've got this huge team. There's 30 people here.
Yes.
But the client should be asking, well, but why are they here? What are they for? Do we need 30 people? Could we have 2 people? And to me, it just seems like a waste. It just seems unnecessary.
I really love your approach, Joe. I think everyone should be connecting with you for their events, because you're looking at for the holistic benefit for the client who's taking your service, and I'm sure you have repeat customers, because someone who does it once needs you again back with you.
Yeah. We had an event yesterday actually with Cambridge University, and I think they were a little bit skeptical. So they asked for a simple setup. They just wanted some screens and some lights for an event. It was a small event, and we quoted for it. And when I spoke to them after the event, they said, "Oh, before it started, it sounded a bit expensive. I wasn't really sure." And once we delivered it, they were so happy and said, "It was an absolute bargain. Like it would be cheap at twice the price." They were so happy. And already they're saying to me, "Okay, well, for our next events, we're going to consult you. What venue should we use?" And so I'm sure we have a repeat customer.
Yes, yes, because I see that you're doing everything from the heart. You're doing it as if it's your own event, and you're taking everything.
You have to take that personal responsibility. They've given you that responsibility to deliver the event, and they trust you. You have to do it.
I completely admire your way of leadership, the way that you manage. So do you have any upcoming new project in mind, or do you want to share with us, or I know this is a huge handful of commitment and industry that you're in, and you're probably fully booked for the next year, but what is it, something new you want to share?
The main thing we're focused on at the moment, again, with that sustainability concept in mind, is this turnkey solution. So we're actually have a meeting this afternoon with a venue space, and I have many more coming up over the next few weeks to do that full installation and offer that turnkey. That's really our focus, because I think everybody wins. So if you put everything that somebody needs into an event space, then the hotel or whoever operates that space finds it easier to rent the space out, because what they're offering compared to what anyone else offers, incredible value. The customer, there's no hassle, right? They don't have to worry, I've got to find someone to put the screen in and do this and do that. It's all taken care of. The event space is just ready to go. Okay, maybe there's a few tweaks, but basically it's ready to go. And we provide an excellent service for a very reasonable price. So everybody wins.
Yes.
That's the focus. And honestly, I think that's the future of events in Dubai, rather than every day bringing something in and out.
And also what I have now seen over the years is everyone from the group, they're bringing in an idea, and they want to have one event in Dubai, whether they're from any part of the world. And it's really like, the demand is increasing. If, someone's from the US, they're going to make sure they have one launch of their product or service. The UAE has to be a destination.
Well, Dubai, it's an excellent hub because of Emirates. They fly everywhere, and they fly everywhere direct. So, and also, when you look at the world map, Dubai's sort of in the middle, right? So you can get from Australia to here direct. You can get from Asia Pacific, Singapore, Hong Kong,
Right in the center.
direct, and it's right in the middle. And it's a popular destination. People want to come to Dubai. So even if you live in LA or New York, and somebody says we're having an event in Dubai, oh yeah, okay, I'll go, just because it's an
Yes.
interesting place to visit.
Absolutely.
I think it's the perfect place for a global company to have a central event.
Yes. And you being in the luxury side, right? I mean, your focus and how is that, I think, more challenging, or how is it unique from the mainstream?
Well, yeah, again, it's a very competitive space, and you have to, as I said before, you have to offer something over and above what everyone else does,
Yes.
and you have to offer that personal level of service. We try and differentiate ourselves just by being honest. So sometimes the client will want to go in a certain direction, and I might think it's not a good idea, but I'm more than happy to tell them, actually, don't do that because whatever reason, maybe try this instead. And I think people appreciate that. People don't want to just be told, oh yes, you know, if you say yes to everything, you think you're making the client happy because you're giving them what they want, but they might be making a terrible mistake.
But with your experience and knowledge and
Exactly.
expertise, and you sharing them your honest opinion, that takes a lot of courage. I know a lot of people, they would not, because they're too scared to, share their, or I don't know, but this is something that I love, what you said.
Well, I learned this lesson, well, a couple of times in my life, but probably the biggest example was when I was running the consultancy in London. We were working with British American Tobacco, not on the tobacco side, but on the vaping side. And I was responsible for making sure that everything that they needed was delivered on time, in full, went to the right place. I was much more on the operational side back then. And we had a problem with the factory that I was working with. They'd made a mistake with the packaging. So all the products had gone into the wrong boxes.
Oh,
So, and the factory said, oh, don't say anything, don't tell them. They wanted to keep it a secret and try and fix it behind the scenes. And I thought, no, this is wrong. So I called them up and I said, look, we've got a problem, we're fixing it, but the delivery may be a day late. But we're on it, we're fixing it. And they appreciated that honesty so much because they were so used to people lying or sneaking around and trying to fix it without telling them. My relationship with them was then solid as a rock.
amazing.
Because they knew I was always going to be honest and I was always going to tell them. I didn't just say, here's a problem. I said, here's a problem. We are fixing it. It will be fixed by tomorrow. They go, okay, fine. They can just relax. They know that you're on it. They trust you. It's great. So
You are making,
with clients.
you inspire me so much, because so many people would be scared because they can get away with it. They don't have to share everything, and they would look nice and perfect. But being authentic and just sharing with them on impulse basis that, look, this has happened. We're taking ownership of it, and it's taken care of.
It's a scary phone call to make. It's $1 million worth of product, and you say there's a problem. You expect maybe they'll shout at you, maybe they'll get upset, but you think, okay, but it's much better to be honest, and yeah, they respect you for it.
Wow. I think you're quite, because I think you've been dealing with clients and managing and all of this being done seamlessly. It just comes automatically, because I think it also comes with having a lot of faith in your service and product,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it also translates nicely into the events industry. So, again, you've got an event, maybe you've got 10 performers, you've got speakers coming in, people flying in and out for the event, you've got VIP guests that need to be looked after. Inevitably, something will go wrong. Somebody's flight will be late, there'll be a technical problem, somebody will forget to bring a piece of kit or whatever it is. It's so much better to just tell the client, here's the situation, we're working on it. And, maybe it's as simple as, this guy's flight was delayed, so we need to change the schedule and have this performer here and he'll perform later. And the client says, okay. Whereas if you try and fix it without telling them, then it will all just explode. It just goes horribly wrong. It's so much better to just be honest as early as possible.
And I think every client would want to have you for their event, because the more that I'm thinking of an event where we're going to have you on board, and I have to book you in advance.
Thank you.
Also, I mean, again, for the listeners who are hearing this podcast and who are trying to come into the entrepreneurial world, and you shared such great golden nuggets. Is there something else you want to add? What a CEO should have, some certain qualities, or what is so important?
Well, I remember when I was a child, I think still, I heard a quote from Steve Jobs, and I'm going to get the quote slightly wrong, but it's something along the lines of, what's the point of hiring intelligent people and telling them what to do? So at Apple, we hire intelligent people and have them tell us what to do, because that's what we've hired them for.
Wow.
Right? So in terms of leadership style, that's what I've always subscribed to, that you hire good people who know what they're doing, and you listen to them and you let them do their job. Right? As far as possible, I step back, I just let people do their job. Okay, if it's your company, you have the vision and the direction that you want to go, and you might just steer the ship, just correct course now and then, but generally just let people do what they're good at and you'll be fine.
But I think there's a lot of element of trust that comes along the way.
There is, and that's why you have to hire good people. You know, I generally get a good feeling for somebody, you know, very quickly. You meet someone, you know, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you get a feel for someone, whether you can trust them or not, and whether they're going to do a good job. You don't always get it right, and sometimes you have to make some corrections. But generally, you know, I think if you get a good feeling about someone, and they display some passion, and you know they can get behind the vision of the company, I think that's crucial. Actually, you don't want somebody who's just applying for a job because they need a job. You want somebody who gets on board with the vision and the direction you want to go, and will support you all the way. And if you find that, you're 100%.
Golden. And on the same note, if you want to share some lesson or something that you're not going to repeat, or it was, I mean, we all do have, you know, some kind of interesting moments where we think that, okay, next time we're going to make sure that doesn't happen, or in terms of an employee or event, or...
Yeah, well, I think most entrepreneurs have failed a few times. So I'm actually on my 4th time round setting up a company. So the first time was the PR company here, and then for various reasons I moved back to London. COVID was a big problem for the second one. I set up another company here with a friend of mine, and again it went really well for a while, and then that was also during COVID. That was a bit of a struggle, but I think the key is keep trying. Just keep trying, and eventually you'll find that niche, you'll find that thing. But it takes a lot, you know, to fail, and then admit the mistakes you've made, and to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start again, you know, start from scratch, you know, 3 or 4 times. It's brutal. It's really brutal. But you just keep pushing ahead, and eventually you will find what you're looking for.
And I think that only someone who's so experienced can, you know, knows and then it's the beauty of it is that then you just do things so seamlessly, because everything is like ingrained. You have so much, and I think it comes as an experience. It's
you have to make the mistakes.
Yes.
You have to learn from the mistakes.
There's no such thing as
this has always been my problem, I suppose. I'm not very good at learning from other people's mistakes. I tend to have to do it myself, make my own mistakes, and then learn from those, and then move on.
I think you should definitely write a book about.
I'd love to. Yeah.
You know, the ups and downs, and the way to consistently have a business running in its full. Do you believe also about partnerships when you have you know, collaborations or partnerships? Do you like to be like the one in charge? I mean,
not really. No, collaboration is key, I think, and especially in this industry, right? Nobody can do everything, so you're going to need partners. You're going to need other companies that you can rely on to deliver the things that you don't offer. And I think creating an ecosystem where everyone supports each other and everyone shares in the benefits of, you know, the enterprises that you take on.
Absolutely, yes, teamwork.
It's key. So there are 4 or 5 businesses I work with regularly, and very often they're taking a share of my profits for an event, and I'm taking a share of theirs, because we're working together on things and we pass each other business. It's just such a nicer way of doing things than trying to just compete and have animosity between different companies. Just work together.
I love that. Yeah. That is profound, what you've said.
And it might mean, you might give up some of your profit, but the benefits in the long run are huge. As a strategic move, building those partnerships is a very good idea.
Oh yes, that's another interesting thing that you have mentioned, building the partnerships. Do you, so how do we get in touch with you if we want to, have an event to be done by you?
So we have the website is avenue2.events. We have Instagram is also at avenue2.events. Kira, who I've hired recently, is taking care of the social media. She's doing an amazing job. So yeah, check out our Instagram and check out the website.
Yes, and we're going to be having it all in the captions. Do you want to leave the audience with something interesting as we are entering 2025? And I think Dubai is the place to be, and this is actually a busy time for events as well. What is it that you'd like to share with them, or how can they better their year this time? And because the whole podcast was super amazing. You shared such great insights, and everyone who was listening has. So I want something more you want to share.
Well, I think the advice, certainly in the event space, would be to try and do something unique. I've been to so many events organized by the people where it's a sort of cut and paste or copy paste, let's say, of what everyone's done before. They all look very similar. It's the same stage and the same screen in the same place with the same, it gets a bit repetitive. Certainly if because I attend a lot of events, or I'm involved in a lot of events, you see the repetitive nature of it. And I'm not sure the attendees really appreciate it. Maybe they also go to 10, 20 events a year and they're all quite similar. They all merge into one. So try and do something a bit unique, whether it's multi-sensory experiences where it's not just the way it looks, but what sounds you hear, what smells are around at the event, using AR or AI to elevate the event and make it a bit more
beautiful,
interesting. Wellness is a big thing as well now, so maybe taking a break halfway through the event to do some mindfulness or some yoga or whatever it might be, just to kind of get people thinking differently, feeling differently before you carry on. Because a lot of these, especially the corporate events, they can be a bit dull. It's adding something to make it fun and interesting and memorable. I think that's the key.
Yes.
If you have an event and you're going to spend all this money to have this experience, you want people to remember it. It has to be something a bit different.
Of course, and I think that this is more challenging for the organizers because for them, if you see, everything is very easy to cut and paste. You know, because it's simpler, and they see the client is also. But then taking a unique way requires more effort.
Well, you're constantly innovating to come up with something different from what you did before. Yeah. Amazing.
I think I love the entire personification of your platform because it's unique. It's incorporating the newness, sustainability features, and just it's just been such a pleasure, Joe, to have this podcast. It's been my pleasure.
It's been lovely.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't wait to be part of one of your events and also have you take care of one of our events this year.
We'd love to do that.
Yes.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So everyone, it was a super amazing podcast that we had with Joe. So please do get in touch. We're going to be having all the, labels and the captions for Joe's company. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much once more.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time. Thank you.